All right, so in this video, we are going to be talking about Dwarf Charmy's full kit, barring any stats and official graphics, because I've not been given permission to show that yet. But as Dwarf Charmy's kit has been leaked, I will be able to confirm that everything from the leaks is true, and I'll show you guys all of the info there. So in terms of stats, I will say don't get your hopes up, okay? But I think we'll talk about them again in a future video with some early look at her intro and some of her arts, okay? Now, Dwarf Charmy's coming out the 24th, it seems, but now it does seem like there is no one coming out here, so yeah, that's basically it. There's no one coming out for the rest of the season. It is only a Dwarf Charmy season, and what I could say to that is it will be a bit disappointing for a lot of people, okay? I'm not gonna lie, because Dwarf Charmy is an interesting unit, but I definitely think she is more of a unit that's gonna be good for PvE content. And by good, I mean she will be fucking amazing for PvE content, especially when you consider there's a new world boss coming up at some point, being this one. But seeing how they fumbled the new raid, I don't know if it's even going to be worth talking about. Now, what I do want to say is Dwarf Charmy, no matter how good or bad she was, I wouldn't max her out completely because it is Dwarf Charmy. And I love Dwarf Charmy. She's a top 3 character for me personally. And my most anticipated release they could have done in this game, period. Okay? I mean that fully. Dwarf Charmy is my favorite release they could have done. For Christmas, I don't care how good or bad she was. If she was usable at all, I would have been happy, and I'm so happy. This is a crazy run for me because Sekre into Dwarf Charmy, like, that's fucking insane. Dwarf Charmy was the first ever time on my channel I used a microphone, so she holds a special place in my heart, okay? So I do want to thank everyone. Just kind of reminiscing a bit. It's crazy how far we've come in the past almost 4 years on the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Now let's go in to talk about Dwarf Charmy's kit. So, you know, courtesy of Ali, right? Her kit is fully done. All right, so she's a red attacker. Now, thank God we're getting a good red attacker after the fucking fumble of a century they did with Summer Charlotte and Yami, which I think they should have still been support and debuffer or different colors. Like, I don't know what they were fucking cooking. Like, those units genuinely need buffs. I'm not even kidding. So now we have an actual proper red attacker that, in my opinion, the way she's going to work is if she survives turn 1, she survives the rest of the match, okay? After what I've seen with Sekre and Fuego, and how Fuego type disadvantage is able to tank a lot of this stuff, I feel like Charmy should be fine. Now then, skill 1, it's a heal. Okay, so she is a support DPS, which opens up the gates for a lot of stuff. For her not to be the main DPS, okay, something that needs to be mentioned, but also having another DPS while not being number 1 is good for pick and ban, for the fact that, I mean, I was playing with Sekre today, and let's say you first pick Sekre, the other team could pick Lumiere and Fuego, and you might be cooked. Now, the problem with Charmy is she's a magic attack unit. I'll say that right now, she's magic attack, okay? So, because of that, it does kind of hurt, because how the fuck are you supposed to have 3 magic attack builds, right? That's the main problem. So I could understand that part. Now, she gives a 50% heal based off damage dealt to her and the ally with the lowest HP ratio. Now, her skill 2 is 160%. Pretty good. Does an AoE heal of 80% damage dealt. This could probably do, I feel like on average, I don't know, I feel like 50k to 100k makes sense. So a good 40k AoE heal does not hurt. It's just nothing too crazy, I feel. It's just, let's go into it. So grants self an SP plus 2 buff. So this is more an intermediary skill where you're just using this in between to wait for the ult again. And then with the skill page, it attacks after granting up to 100% increased damage dealt buff in proportion to own missing HP. Which, if you realize, doesn't make sense because she keeps on healing herself. So when is she really going to miss out on this HP? Unless you only use this skill and wait for it for when you're on low HP. Like, it's a good buff. It's just, I don't know. You know. Now, her ult 240%, pretty good. Okay, attacks after granting self a magic attack level 3 buff, which makes this a very strong ultimate, all considered, right? And besides that, all allies get 100% of damage dealt as HP recovery. So to me, I mean, looking at how much Fuego's ult does, right, without all attack, looking at how much Lumiere's ult does, I feel like this should easily give a full heal pretty much to the entire team, especially if she's Dupe 5. Now, giving all allies SP+1 actually is very strong if you're running a Ceremony Charlotte team. The only problem is, like, the more I look into it, the more I'm like, okay, Charmy's going to be good besides versus Black Divider. So to me, you either need to run Lumiere or Destiny Vanessa, and then you should be fine, right? If you run Charmy with either anyone who could remove Immo or Immo block, you're fine, right? So that's something I do want to bring up, and I think it's pretty important to mention that, right? With Lumiere, or even Fuego, I guess, just any of the big DPS or Destiny Vanessa, and you should be fine. Because I feel like with Ceremony Charlotte, especially with this, I mean, Charmy's gonna get her ult decently quick, and then she's able to give other people their ults quicker, right? So that's something. We'll talk about some of the teams later. Then attacks after grounding, yeah, we talked about that, grants off SP+1. So she's getting 2 SP from this ult, which means after this, she kind of goes right up to 3 in some cases, right? So keep that in mind. Now, passive. If HP is fully recovered, like let's say she is at 90% HP, she full heals, when she uses a skill, only a skill, doesn't mean other healers, right? Only her. She gets, she gets a barrier for 2 turns that's worth 50% of magic attack. Now this would have been very good if this was the same as Summer Noel. So Summer Noel, what she does is on the ult, she gives the magic attack level 2 buff, and then for 2 turns afterwards, she also gets it. That would have been crazy. But no. I feel like she got shafted in a lot of areas that would have made her easily top 10 or top 15. So it is unfortunate, but she's a normal pickup. So to me, it's okay. It really is okay. She's in the range of like Blue Raya, I'd say, but Blue Raya has way better gimmicks, so it's a bit weird. Now, 50% isn't bad. It's just, if this was a buff, this would have been like a free 100k barrier every turn, right? But no, it isn't. So it's a bit weird. Also, this would have been a lot better for like turn 1 if she got an extra turn upon killing or something, because that would also mean if she got an extra turn upon killing, she'd have 2 barriers set up. Obviously, no matter what, she can only have 2 barriers up at once, but this would allow you in some cases where you have 0 to get 2 right away if you get the kill, right? That's what I wanted to kind of say from that. Now, LR2 is at the start of the battle, grants off 100% increased HP recovery if a healer does not exist on the ally side, which means don't run her with a healer, but then you also get a kind of weak buff. Because I feel like without this, like, this is fine, because obviously now you're going to get the barrier way more often. It's just we didn't need this, right? You could have just given, like, you could have just done 200% damage, 160, 100, and then made this, like, something good, right? It could have been something good. That's the problem, because this healer, it's just, it feels like a bit of a wasteful HP recovery. It feels wasteful. Now, the Dupe 5 is good. Every time you attack someone additively, so it adds up. You get, every time you attack the same person, you get an extra 20% damage dealt. Which means after 10 attacks, that's a 200% damage dealt. Like, her ult is actually gonna be a nuke in World Boss. Like, it's not even funny, I'm not even kidding. She is just gonna do, like, way too much damage. By the end of World Boss, it's just gonna be ridiculous levels. Because 20% every time, I mean, it's impressive. Now, even for PvP, this could work. Because just getting like a 60 to 80 to 100% damage increase on one unit if you keep on attacking them, bro, like, she could probably pierce through Veto with that ult. Because on the ult, 240% with a magic attack buff, and then, like, if she attacks 5 times, bro, I mean, what, like, just as an example for Veto, obviously, but I feel like if we go to a more defensive meta, like, she could start doing a lot of damage, but she's never going to do as much as Black Divider, because Black Divider, like, deadass removes damage reduction. So, I don't know. It's not bad. It's just, it's more of a PvE unit, as we can tell, right? Clearly. Very clearly. Because even HP recovery, you know what the problem is? Black Divider, heal block. Black Asta, heal block. So, what happens then? She gets no barriers, and she's fucking cooked. Right? I just wanted to mention that. Okay. Now, I do think it's going to be okay. It's just, this is more of a PvE-centered ability. So, the reason is because if you get if you're trying to hit someone and then you get taunted on someone else, then it's just not good. Also, what else is not good game design is the fact she doesn't have taunt immunity. So if she can't, like, if she had taunt immunity, that's all she really needed. So I really feel that a lot was just kind of not done well with her kit. But it's also like, in PvE, it's fine. Everything we see here is fine in PvE, but it's just like after the generational run we just had with what's it called? With Fuego into Lumiere into Sekre, all obviously buffed Fuego, right? Well, fixed Fuego. It's like going to Dwarf Charmy, and then she's the only unit for a month, doesn't sit well with me, you know? I think you guys understand that. Now, the combo is just a magic attack buff, but only for the attack. So to me, it really feels like she's gonna be kind of, what's the word? Like, she is gonna be more of a future unit in the way that I feel like she's gonna work with like Awakened List, stuff like that. But we won't know, so it's like I don't really think I'll advise people to summon. Now, this 100% based on proportion missing HP, it just feels weird. I don't know what it is. It's just the skill page feels very fucking weird. I really don't have much words. It's just like cool, right? Like I don't get it. Now this also is like low-key, I don't know what you would run on Dwarf Charmy. Like maybe you just full send, because it's like damage reduction is cool. I think she's gonna need her skill page maxed, but it's like maxing it for a fucking Dwarf Charmy, like nah, right? I feel like she's a skip, unfortunately. Like, you could get one copy and run her fine in PvE, but still. So what it does is, if HP recovery is granted to self, there's a 100% chance to get a 30% damage reduction buff for 2 turns, unstackable. So it's like, cool. But like, that's it. That's her only defensive mechanic with barriers. But then it's like, you have heal block, GG, right? So it's like, the problem with these barriers compared to like Lumiere, it's one condition essentially. Just crit, right? But the thing is, critting is almost guaranteed with Lumiere. So it's like, that's not really a condition. The only condition is being able to apply the barrier, not having barrier block. But here, you got to make sure there's no heal block and no barrier block now because of Sekre. So it does kind of feel weird and very weird game design, but it really will depend on the next units, right? We've seen this with Blue Raya. Even Fenrir got a bit of a resurgence later on. And then obviously Dorothy just kind of stays, right? Not anything too crazy ever, but for pick and ban, always a good option. So it's like, even Chaos Vanessa getting a huge resurgence lately, right? So we could see stuff. It's just, it doesn't feel like her kit has the abilities to really even see that resurgence ever. Because thing is with Raya is off bat, he's had so many ways to be ran because of how his kit works and how he has different abilities depending on who his combo is. Then Chaos Vanessa is a support, but Dwarf Charmy is an attacker, so it's like, it almost feels like DOA, like she really feels almost dead on arrival for PvP. But I would like to try her out. Like if we survive turn 1 with Dwarf Charmy, like she could survive, like she'll have the damage reduction, she'll have extra barriers, then barriers with Sekre, then barriers with Charlotte if you want. And like a team like that could be fun, but it's like, why run this unit when every other DPS is more impressive? So that's my main thing. I really like Charmy. I'm going to use her. I'm going to find her fun. It's just she doesn't seem like a unit you need to summon on. And considering she's the only unit for a month, it feels very depressing if I'm being real. Okay, I think you guys could understand that. So that's essentially it. Now her, she gets 50k HP, which is good. I mean, we kind of knew that, but not much more to say there. Overall, like, it ain't bad. It's just there's not really many reasons to get her because she's just going to be ran on the same old teams, right? Sometimes it'll be like a mono green version, but then guess what? So can Lumiere and so can Fuego. So it's like Fuego a bit less, but you know, still, it's just, I don't know. I really don't know with her. I'm going to need to test her. If her damage is good, like if she's able to actually like do a ton of damage, then sure. If her ult actually does good, then sure. Like that's going to be fine. It's just they added too many conditions for a unit that barely gets anything from these conditions, right? Has to heal, has to get to full HP, has to stay alive, has to keep on targeting the same enemy. Like, it's just too much. I feel like there's too much for not enough reward, which is starting to feel a bit like Summer Charlotte and Yami again, so it seems like the red attacker curse is staying. I'm done. I don't really have much more left to say. Thank you for watching this video. Sorry if there was background noise. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think of Dwarf Charmy. Have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye-bye.